Second. Oh, there we go. Well, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning. It is Tuesday, right? These days come together so fast. You know, we're all busy doing what we do, and they just seem to roll into one another. But I am Eric Knowles, the president of the Miami-Dade Chamber. And as I said, I've been the head bottle washer for the last 8 years now, just enjoying what we do. Our mission is to provide economic and social transformation in our community, and we do that each and every day. But, you know, one of our partners being Jackson Hospital Systems, health systems, I can't say enough about the work that Amber and her team and the folks at Jackson, what they do to ensure that we as Black businesses, brown, women businesses are provided the platform and the opportunity to grow. So I just want to, again, first thank Amber for all that she continues to do to make sure that we're engaged, to make sure that we are a part of the growing, how do I put it, the growing economic engine that Jackson is. I mean, they're one of the largest economic engines that we have here in Miami-Dade County, and they work very hard to ensure that we are a part of that. If you're not engaged with Jackson, you need to reach out to Amber to become certified, and that's just what this is all about. This is part 2 about contracting. How are you ready for government contracting? We do a lot of work with Miami-Dade County, obviously Jackson Hospital being a part of Miami-Dade County. And so if one thing about starting a small business, and you never know, you may say you may not have or do something that Jackson would need your services for, but until you actually sit down with them, you don't know. You may have something that you can provide to them, even though in your mind it may not. And those opportunities are with Dade County as well. So you need to start by knocking on that door and finding out what those opportunities are. So I want to welcome our panelists that are here today. Thank you for coming on. It's going to be a vibrant conversation, I'm sure. And so I'm going to step out of the way and turn it over to Amber and let her do what she does.
Thank you, Eric, and good morning, everyone. Amber Lawhorn, Director of Supplier Diversity and Small Business Enterprise Program for Jackson Health System. We are so glad to be partnering again with the Chamber on a technical workshop to benefit its members. We've been doing this well over 6 years at this point, at least 2 workshops a year, sometimes 3, and to bring education and information to the small business community here in Miami-Dade County, particularly minority businesses. So again, we're very grateful for this partnership and to continue this important work so that minority businesses can participate in our opportunities. If you've been in the know and in any shape, form, or fashion for about the last 7 years, Jackson has been heavily engaged in a capital program. We've spent about $2 billion renovating and building new facilities across Miami-Dade County. And we've done a lot of work. The Chamber has truly helped us outreach specifically to Black businesses to make sure that businesses were participating in those activities, know about Jackson as an economic engine in Miami-Dade County, and are positioned to participate in our processes. So this morning, I would really like to thank our panelists that we have with us. We have several members of our minority business community. We have Jackie Coleman, Vice President of Owl Hill Plumbing, Tracy Palfrey, CEO of Moving Forward Healthcare, Anthony Price, Administrator of American Home Health Agency, And hopefully soon we will have William Berry, President of Able Business Services. Thank you all so much for your time this morning. We are so excited to speak with you. This is Are You Ready for Government Contracting Part 2. We recently did Part 1 in September, where we spoke with successful businesses that have successfully contracted with government agencies, not just Jackson, but Miami-Dade County, school boards from Miami-Dade all the way up to Palm Beach County. And we talked to them about some of the strategies that they employed to be prepared to win and keep government contracts. And we got a lot of feedback from the vendor community that they were interested in how to position themselves to successfully pursue government contracting. So this is what part 2 is about, to really dig a little bit into the back end of business. There's Mr. Berry. I see we have him on. So we'll let him get his audio going in a moment. But again, this session is to really dig into some of the details of the back office and running the business so that you can position yourself to successfully pursue government contracting. So with that, we'll go right ahead and get started. I'd like to go around the room, the virtual room, and get a little bit of information about our panelists. So we'll start with Jackie. Jackie, if you would tell us about your business, your role, how the business came to be, and who are some of your customers.
Good morning, everyone. As Amber stated, I'm Jackie Coleman, Vice President of Al Hill Plumbing Corp. I'm responsible for the day-to-day operation of our internal business, that is the office, the bookkeeping, secretary who works. So I wear several hats. I'm not only the secretary here, but I'm the bookkeeper here. And sometimes I'm even the maintenance person because, you know, being a small business, they're not great opportunities sometimes for me to go out and hire somebody to clean up or even hire somebody to come in and take half of this role from me. But Al Hill Plumbing was organized back in 1982, but incorporated in 1986 by Al Hill. And, you know, it was mainly organized. Al started the business due to basically the racial divides that he was experiencing in the 1970s. For those of you who can't even fathom what 1970s were like in Miami-Dade County, especially Miami-Dade County, we have, and I remember Al likes to tell the story about his original trade was electrical. He was an electrician coming out of North Florida, looking for a better life in South Florida, got a job with an electrical contractor. They had this big job on Miami Beach. And lo and behold, when the owners, inspectors, and people looked around at the makeup of this organization, they said something very racial about, you know, they don't allow people of our color to work on Miami Beach. And if this contractor still wanted his position there, he would have to get rid of him. So at that point, Al said, you know, maybe this is not for me. And I remember Al giving me the story that he immediately realized that he had another niche. He not only could do electrical work, but he could also do plumbing work. And lo and behold, in the community, he had a family member who was a plumbing contractor, and Al said that, you know, his uncle, by the way, just such a little bit, I think Al said about $35 a week or something similar to that, started out, but he trained, he learned. And I remember him not saying that he was more motivated than just working as a plumber. So he sought out means of getting his journeyman license and then his master plumber. And his master plumber license got, he has a whole nother story about that, because as racially divided as Miami-Dade County was, they didn't want any Black master plumbers. So this is basically how Al Hill Plumbing got started. Also a need for a plumbing company here in Miami-Dade County that would look at the welfare of all people, not just people of his color. But he saw the need because he was racially profiled back in the early 70s.
Thank you, Jackie. That is some important history for many of our
Right.
attendees today to understand. We see a lot going on today. Please know that it's been going on for a while, and we're all working to change the narrative. And thank you to Al Hill for following his conviction and ensuring that there's opportunity for Black businesses in the plumbing space in Miami-Dade County. Thank you, Jackie. So let's go to Anthony. Anthony, if you want to tell us about yourself, your role, your business, how it came to be.
Sure. So we're an American Home Health Agency, and we provide basically services to patients in their homes. So home can be typical resident. It could be an ALF, like a assisted living facility, or even in a hotel room, right? We serve Miami-Dade County, Broward, as well as Monroe counties as well. Our services could be simple as providing someone with a bath at home, assisting with medication, even up to the complexity of providing IV infusion, someone on a ventilator at home, in home settings. Our agency started back, actually yesterday was our 16th anniversary, right? So, which is good. And my wife and I started a company. She's a nurse, and my background is in IT and business management. So that created a good synergy between us. And our customers, of course, is Jackson Memorial Hospital System. That's one of our main customers. And we also provide services to Miami-Dade County for staffing of healthcare individuals, as well as the Miami VA system and all of the hospitals here in South Florida. You know, of course, local doctors and even patients call us from time to time with needs for their family.
Thank you for sharing, and happy anniversary.
Thank you.
That's awesome. You said 16 years?
Correct.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you. Congratulations, and thank you so much for sharing. Tracy, let's hear from you.
Hello. I am clearly the new kid on the block. Moving Forward Healthcare is 4 years old, or a little over 4. We were born in 2018 physically, but in my heart, mind, and dreams back in 2014. So I'm a University of Florida grad, grew up in Florida from the island of Jamaica. That's my background. And I just have a passion and love for healthcare. And I've always been in love with technology. I was never afraid of it. I think I was probably the last of my generation. I'm Gen X, right? So it's probably the last group of people that is not afraid of technology, obviously going into the newer generation where they've completely embraced it. So I have been on the cusp of 4IR for a while. I've been watching how technology evolved from the birth of internet. I've always been fascinated by it, didn't know why. And then later on in life, I started to see things change. When I saw money go digital, I was literally sitting on the couch with my husband, and I saw the whole birth of Bitcoin. I looked at him, I said, healthcare is next. And it's gonna take a catastrophic event, but it's gonna happen, healthcare is next. It's kind of like creepy that I said that, right? Because with COVID, that's exactly what happened. So in 2018, I met a philanthropist, our paths crossed, and I shared my vision of pixelating myself and bringing solutions and resources domestically and hopefully globally when it comes to wound care management. That's my superpower. So we are specialized in wound care, particularly diabetic healthcare. And I wanted to bring forth a product that was easily manageable, but done so digitally, meaning you can sit in your room or your house or in your car, like most of our customers are, they're contractors, they're people with everyday lives. That's not really conducive to taking the time to go to the doctor. So I wanted to meet people where they were with wound care management in a real-time situation. That was the birth of Moving Forward Healthcare, and the rest is history.
Congratulations.
Awesome. And I'm really enjoying this perspective because we have decades, we have approaching 2 decades, and we have 4 years in business. So I hope our attendees, are able to get a good picture of the potential, and even the starting points, that it's okay to start now, but you have the potential to be around for quite some time. And with that, last but certainly not least, Mr. William Berry.
How
Let's
you
hear
all
from you.
doing
Good
this
morning.
morning? I said this morning. Sorry about the hiccup this morning with the technology.
No
So
problem.
fortunately, I have 3 daughters who are IT experts. All of my 3 kids have advanced degrees in technology, so they're able to get me online. So I'm here with you. So in reference to how Able got started, in my previous life, I was the region administrator for the state rehabilitation office. And after retirement, after 30 plus years, I wanted to still do something in the area of helping people. So after 31 years, I decided, what should I do? I was only 51. And in 2000, the year 2000, December 2000 to be exact, I started ABLE. And ABLE is a catch-all from able, abilities, capable, as far as the nomenclature of trying to show that we're going to be capable of doing everything that a company, a service would require in the future. So that's how ABLE was started. We initially started out doing janitorial work, landscaping work. One of my biggest contracts initially was the Miami International Airport. We were able to acquire that contract after a year, and we were able to have that contract for about 5 years. So the need to create opportunities from my background in rehabilitation and social service was the reason why I started ABLE, to make sure people that in my community have opportunities to work. And I think that we've been pretty successful in bringing that about. So up to this point, I think we have a close to like 300 people. In fact, we are the largest Black-owned employer in Dade County. So we have a propane dispensing unit. We make our own industrial chemicals, along with a lot of chemicals related to the detailing industry. And we have a full service janitorial business. So we've really grown over the years. And after 22 years, I think we are on the crust of being very successful in our various fields.
Thank you, Mr. Berry. And from that, yes, absolutely. That's the largest Black-owned employer in Miami-Dade County. That is a huge accomplishment. And I also hope that our attendees, if you're not in business, that you get that understanding. Mr. Berry retired from his previous career after 30 years and started a brand new business that has grown immensely. So it's never too late. If you haven't started a business, make sure that you ingest some of what is shared today, because there's still time, there's still opportunity. It's never too late. Thank you all for introducing yourselves and your businesses. So let's get into some of that information that we really want our attendees to walk away with today. So I'm going to kick it off with an interesting question. What has been your biggest administrative challenge in the past year? And how did you overcome it? And the reason for this question is there's so much up in the air, right? There's supply chain shortages, there's labor shortages, the price of everything is increasing. So we know that these things are impacting business, and we hear a lot from small minority businesses. How do we overcome these challenges? So Anthony, I'll start with you. What has been your biggest challenge, and what have you done to navigate that challenge?
So for us, the biggest challenge has been labor. So, we're in the home health field, so we need persons out there providing care to people in their homes. So for example, nurses, aides, therapists. And so, with post COVID or during the COVID era, a lot of people are leaving, going over to New York, to Texas to provide services there. So we were left shorthanded. Luckily for us, we had a strong core team that was able to maintain us during that period. But since then, we always have this shortage, and to the point where we could realize more business, but because we don't have the people, we have to turn away potential customers. So one way that we've been, solving this problem is using tools such as Hireology, Indeed, constantly, being in a hiring state. We're always interviewing individuals for various positions. So that's how we're, solve that problem. And it's an ongoing thing. Also word of mouth, we always leverage for people that work with us, hey, introduce someone to come work with us as well. So that's how we, solve those problems.
Always interviewing. I like that. Stay, you have to try to build up the capacity, even if you don't have the job today, just at least get people in the pipeline. That's a great suggestion. Jackie, I'd like to ask you, I know, you also provide a service. So, you have the need for a staff, but you also provide products or you use materials in the work.
My challenges are exactly like Anthony's, and what my interior challenge is to get good administrative help. Right now, because the market is so open, it's real challenging to find someone who wants to work in small business. You have to love small business to work with us. And because the industry is so wide open now, everyone wants to go into corporate America. But on the service end, our biggest challenge now, it's price increases. And as we see prices increasing and we got these contracts already, the contractors, not our owners, want to absorb those price increases. So that challenge we've not overcome. We are constantly showing the owners and showing the contractors that we shouldn't have to absorb these increases. So in the meantime, the only way we're handling is to just keep trying. We've not overcome it yet, nor have I overcome that challenge with trying to find employees. We do a lot of training. I am forever using the hiring industries to bring in new people. You train them, but to try and keep them is a challenge because of course, money outweighs loyalty. So right now, I've not overcome many of my challenges. The challenge of keeping employees, the challenge of overcoming these price increases.
And we appreciate your transparency because I think the light is not always so close. The light at the end of the tunnel sometimes is a little far away. But for businesses, you just have to keep persevering, to get there. The tide will shift. We don't know when, but we know that I'm sure you know better than most that the tide will eventually shift. So we hope that it shifts very soon. In your favor. Okay, Tracy, with you being, more of the new kid on the block and being so digitally focused, what in your case, what's been an administrative challenge?
Well, our challenges are extrinsic. They're not really intrinsic because we don't have a lot of the overhead that most companies like Anthony and William and Jackie have, right? So we're digitally focused. However, technology is very expensive. And if you don't understand how to traverse the different digital spaces with technology, it can become very costly. So one of our advantages that we had is that we partnered with another minority company that specializes in technology, especially in the scope that we needed it. So we came together, and fortunately, our supplier later on understood the mechanisms of this. So we were able to have a quick turnaround in the supply chain component. What was a challenge for us was capital to maintain the technology. And that was something that, truthfully, being transparent, I did not project, right? I did not, in my mind, I was like, really, how expensive can AI be? Or how expensive can the software be? But in 2018, it was extremely expensive. And of course, we saw it come down because of the demand, because of post-COVID. So yeah, we were able to adjust and pivot, but it was rough there for a second. We were a team of 10. And by the end of it, we were a team of 3. It was literally myself, the COO, and the CFO. And we were doing all the jobs of everyone else, because we had to let everyone go. We could not survive based on the cost and technology to maintain our business. So that was my challenge.
And I think that's fair. It's important. And then that's why we have these conversations. Some of it is not pretty. It's not all roses, but it's best for people to know what is out there. What are some of the potential challenges that you could face if you have to make that decision between, the technology that your company needs to survive versus downsizing your staff. That may be a decision that you're faced with. And it's important to understand that, so that when those challenges come, you're able to really, analyze those things from various perspectives. So thank you all for sharing it. Talking about technology, and I'll start with Mr. Berry on this. Tell us about a technology solution that your business has successfully implemented. And I ask this question because we've been hearing labor is short. Some of us are doing more than our roles even entail, just to make sure that the business is able to continue moving along. So technology is out there, and it does offer some solutions that can help us manage more things in an efficient manner, take our hands out of some things and allow technology to do some of those things for us. So Mr. Berry, if you could tell us about a successful technology solution for your business.
I've been extremely fortunate in that, like I said earlier, all of my kids are IT experts. All of them have advanced degrees in technology. So I'm very fortunate in that I have them to assist me. In fact, one of my daughters is working with me, and as well as her granddaughter. So implementing everything from inventory to using ADP for our payroll, QuickBooks for our billing, and things of anything related to HR. We've been able to utilize the expertise in making things a lot more efficient. So technology is the future, and they're on top of it. We do a tremendous business here locally, but one of the things as I had said earlier, is that we make our own chemicals. We make everything from Time Shine to industrial chemicals, washing powder, bleach, hand soap, and we're looking to expand beyond our local market. So they are working on putting our products on the global market through Amazon and Spotify, and that's one of the things that they're working on. And I think we're at the cusp of being able to make that happen. So I'm leaving that up to them, and they are expertise in that area, and they are taking off with it. And soon, you will see a lot of our products out here in the internet market.
Awesome. So I think if I recall, I heard some accounting. You mentioned QuickBooks, using AEP for your payroll.
ADP for our payroll.
For your payroll, I think you have a phone system that you've implemented recently.
My daughter implemented. We have a lot of different sites. From my city of Miami contract, which would have maybe 12, 13 sites. Our water and sewer contract might have 10 or 15 sites. MTA site has 3 sites. So you have, in combination, maybe 50 different locations that require product. And to be able to assess the needs of each of those locations and make sure they get the product they need so they can perform. My daughter implemented a system, and I guess it's a shared phone line where they would dial in that's dedicated to for the purpose of them giving information relative to their supply needs that we all can share, that we all have access to, that we can pull from that site every week what their needs are in terms of supplies. And then we have someone that would go out based on the information that is obtained from that site when they call in on that one particular dedicated phone line. And then from there, we distribute product on Tuesday, Monday, and Tuesday to all the locations that are in our contracts. So that's been working pretty well. So, and there's a need to be cost efficient. You know, we trying to make sure that the needs of the contract are actually germane to exactly what is required for that contract to be executed. We have contract managers assigned to each of our contracts, and that's one of the things that they do. They make periodic rounds to each of those locations, making those kind of assessments to ensure that the needs of the that are being put forth in terms of the 1, 2, 3 items that are required to do this job is in actuality what's being is a necessity for that job to perform at the optimum level. So we have contract managers, we have a system, a phone system, and we execute in terms of our quality assurance instrument to make sure that our client needs are being satisfactorily taken care of.
Wonderful. So I think it's important to really, you know, for our attendees to really get that your business has scaled so much. You've scaled that business so large. You have to lean on technology to help manage so many of these different needs. It's out there, you know, people just need to familiarize themselves with it. But it's out there, you know, and there are solutions that can benefit your business. I'd like to ask Tracy, again, so digitally focused, of a technology solution. I know you mentioned something that was really expensive. I don't know if we're looking for that just yet, but maybe something else that has helped create more efficiency in your business that's accessible, you know, to many.
Yeah. So one of our what I mentioned key partnership, right? So we partnered with another business that specializes in technology and innovation. So we created a blueprint, and in that process identified the ways to execute, right? One of the points I like to talk about is the supply chain side. A lot of people don't know when you're in shipping products, especially very expensive medical products, you have to insure and secure it. That's a cost. And so one of the things that we looked at was digital lockers. And what are digital lockers? Digital lockers are provided by FedEx, UPS, and Amazon. And it's a way to safely track and ship your products to the reps to pick it up and then take it to the hospital system. That's one way. Another way is direct shipping to the hospital. But with that, you have to be in step with the supplier, and your system has to align with their system. And so FedEx, and I use FedEx, not that they're my favorite. My husband works for UPS, so. But FedEx, it has the in Amazon, they have the most robust technology in terms of delivery, turnaround, and accessibility. And most hospital systems use FedEx. So you have to use what your target market or your clients are using to speed up efficiency. So we've just capitalized on the tools that FedEx provides to businesses, and it requires a little reading, right? I hate to say it, but you got to do some research and reading and understand what tools does the shipping facility or company have that match your business model and the turnaround time. It takes that kind of detail. You have to understand not just what the tools are, but how to use the tool. And if you're wearing 20 hats like Jackie and I, right? You know, you don't have the luxury. And Mr. Barry, that is a gift. I need to figure out how to hire your daughters or work with y'all. I don't know. But when you talk about having in-house technology, that is a gift. It speeds everything up. We are blessed that our supplier is a massive healthcare company. And so they understand turnaround time and getting products to hospitals efficiently. So their delivery system is in step with ours. So the short answer is find the company. And most of these shipping companies now have tools built in. You just have to look for it. And it's not easy. You have to search, click, read, watch videos until you go, okay, that matches what I need to do. And then you have to call that department. It's time consuming. Here I'm going with this. You have to call that department to say, okay, these are the things that I want. I don't need this robust $9 million package. I need the $100 package that does these three things well, right? So that's my position with technologies. Understanding your business model, pick the partner that matches your business model. Make sure that the supply chain or your partner that's above you providing your products are in alignment with your technology and your business model.
Wow, that was like a mini masterclass on identifying the right technology. I mean, perfectly stated. And I think you really hit the nail on the head. But, you know, from sitting inside of an organization, when you said, find out what your customer is using. And maybe you can leverage that, you know, find out how your customer is doing that business or receiving that business or participating in that business. And that's an easy way to identify the technology. But I think you also made a good point in terms of Mr. Berry having that in-house support on the technology side. Some of us have family members that are really fluent in technology. That's an easy way, you know, to start learning about new ways to do things, or even in your networks, you know, who do you know that is really good with technology or really up on the latest things, you know, in technology. Reach out to them. But also, I'm going to plug the chamber. There's technical assistance within many different organizations that can also help you identify the right technologies to help bring efficiencies to your business. So very, very good. Thank you, Tracy, and thank you, Mr. Berry. We're going to move on to a very important aspect, especially in today's environment, on the back end of a business. And for me, I deal with this on a daily basis from my seat, you know, working with minority businesses, but also as a representative for my organization. This is something that can really set you apart from competitors in your space. So let's talk about customer service. We have to talk about it. How do you set your business aside from your competitors as it relates to customer service? What is your business customer service philosophy? And I think Jackie is really anxious to answer this question. So we'll start with we will start with you, because I know
Not really
Al is very
anxious,
good at
Amber.
customer
I
service.
am not really anxious, but you know, our philosophy, our policy is to provide a quality product timely. And we found that excellent customer service begins with us in construction from the moment that we receive an ITB, an invitation to bid. And here in my operation, Al Hill is responsible for quality and assurance and making sure that the project gets delivered on time. But we've also found out that even during that process, we have to have a relationship with project managers and the contractors that we are working for. And now we're even finding that we got to have a relationship with the owners, because now with all of the other items happening with not enough workers, and we have to be able to express these items not only to the contractor, but also to the owner. So our policy is giving them that quality product from the beginning. So we have developed over a period of time how to communicate this to our contractors, our clients, and also to their clients. Now, there's no secret to it. What I found out is that we just have to know our business. And in knowing our business, then we're able to sell it. I am so impressed with all of you, and especially you, Mr. Berry, because we do use Mr. Berry's product, and we've continued to use it since the pandemic. Don't have a can of Lysol that says Johnson & Johnson in my office, but everything I have in my office says able builder. So because of his great customer service and knowing that when Al Hill come in, these products are what he needs, and he have his staff, you know, to actually go with Al and say, okay, you can use this instead of this, and this is how you use that. We like to have, when we purchase things from others, we like to have that one-on-one. We like to know that our business is important. And this is the same way Al Hill has trained himself to make sure that our clients know their business is important. And we're not going to give them any substandard work. And you know, it's not easy being a small business. This does not give us the opportunity not to be competitive. So in being competitive, we have to know how to meetings and explain our processes. So we're just learning through trial and error how to be good customer service people. And from watching, one of the things that actually aggravates me is when I call to receive something and I'm put on hold for 100 minutes. And then when 100 minutes are up, they come back and they hang up on me. So now I'm learning just through how I'm being treated by the world, how I want to treat someone else. And I can go on, but I'm going to stop because I got too much.
I think you talked about relationships, you know, the importance of relationships. You have a philosophy for your business in terms of customer service, but understanding that the relationships can truly carry you and investing in those relationships up front. I think it's something that people really have to take into consideration when looking to work with government agencies in particular, because we are some very special customers. I know working for Jackson, we want the sun and the moon and the stars, okay? Everybody on this screen can attest to that. So you have to take customer service into account to really, you know, be able to continue running your business. And I really appreciate Jackie pointing out that doing business with other small businesses, other minority businesses, creating those partnerships, because now not only are you servicing your customer, but you're bringing in another small and minority business, giving them business, you know, as a result. So it starts to create a ripple effect through our local economy. Anthony, with staff that goes out, you're in the office. You know, you're not out there with your staff as they go out to perform these services in patient homes. What is the philosophy for your company? And who does customer service start with for American Home Health?
Okay, so our philosophy is simple. Treat your patient as how you want to treat your mom, right? So basically how you want your mom to, you know, if she's sick, how do you want her to be treated? That's it. And in regards to, you know, when does it start? It starts at day 0, before even the patient is even in our census. We're reaching out to the family, reaching out to the hospital to make sure, and the doctors to make sure what the needs are for that particular individual. Sometimes the need is not clear from maybe the hospital, or maybe from the doctor, so you have to really reinforce and say, hey, I really didn't know. For example, you're doing a wound care, as Tracy can attest, you need to know the specific wound care that's needed. Sometimes that information, the doctor might just write a script, wound care. You have to really go into the details so you can make sure you provide the care that's needed for that individual. And also get them involved in the care. So the patient's involved in the care of the family as well. Then they realize that, hey, we're here for their journey, for their, you know, helping them through this health issue that they have. Basically, that's how we do.
That customer service starts at day 0. I think I may frame that. Customer service starts at day 0. It starts before you even do the job. And even we heard Jackie mention, it starts with the ITB, you know, when you're even pursuing the work. Thank you both for that important perspective about customer service, because again, in this, especially in the current environment, it's so important, and we really need, you know, our small and minority businesses, not just small and minority businesses, all businesses. But, you know, this is our audience today, so we want to make sure that they get that message as well. So I'm looking at the time and we have a few more questions. So let's jump into one of the biggest topics for any business, especially in the current environment, financial capacity. We have some people that are on that have a business. We have some attendees here that are looking to start a business. And we have quite a variety with us today in terms of our panel, you know, from a small newer business to well-established businesses. So I think this is a good group to help people have this conversation about financial capacity. So Mr. Berry, I'm going to start with you.
Mhm.
Did you have, you know, when you finished that previous career and started this new business, how did that financial capacity look for you? How did you start? Where did
Well,
you go for funding?
well, after I retired, I did have a pension, and I had been working for 31 years, so I had a little nest egg to depend on. I bought a franchise because I wanted to learn the integral details of how to run a janitorial business, which cost me, I think it was like $20,000. So I had some resources initially. Um, um, when and I qualified initially as a SBE DVE certified business. One of my first contracts was a SBE set aside. It was the Miami International Airport after a year of being in business. So in terms of that large multi-million-dollar contract, which was 5 years, um, it extended those resources that I did build up because this was a multi-million-dollar contract, and at the same time you stepping into a environment where sometimes it's difficult as a small disadvantaged business to navigate attitudes, sometimes implicit negative attitudes of those who might not want you to be in that space in that multi-million-dollar contract because you like the new kid on the block. So resources that I had got spent in short order after 3 months. I get a check for 3 months. So everything was scrutinized to the I guess to the owner. And Obama had just became president, and he was the person who was in charge of my contract was the birther, matter of fact. So for 3 months, I didn't get a check. So those resources I had accumulated over 30 years, you soon got usurped by the payroll and the insurance and everything I had to do to keep my business running. Um, I did manage to reach out to ISD and a lot of people in the position of authority within the county. And when I did that, the funds were made available to me. Um, and since then, I've tried to not ever put myself in a position where resources will be a problem. You know, I've always maintained a good cash flow. Um, and also understand that there will be issues that come to pass where people who do not want you in this space because of you being the new kid on the block will create some difficulties for you. So I maintain a good cash flow so that when I do come across issues of contention with whoever I might have to deal with, you know, I can navigate those circumstances so I can still function financially so that I can still get the job done. It's been difficult in some instances, but for the most part, I've had to always look to create reserves and the circumstances that come about, you know, hopefully, you know, be in a position to navigate and deal with them and interpersonal relationships and the kind of contracts you get and the people that you have to associate yourself with. You know, sometimes those issues are able to be worked through, worked around, And when you have people in a position of authority like yourself, ISD with Dade County, um, those things could be successfully navigated through, and they do happen. A lot of our problems sometimes come about because we are first generation in contracts that traditionally we have not been exposed to. So implicit bias sometimes come into play, and because you not have an opportunity to play in those spaces and be successful in those places, the attitude, the bias perhaps that might interfere in your ability to perform because the negative attitude is there. So you have to do that which you're required to do, and in a lot of instances, a lot more. So my staff is always taught to do 150%. I do that with my young people. This is the world we live in. This is the
So,
world we live in, and you have to do the best possible job that you can, and let that take care of itself, and navigate around those people that uh, have those biases. But when you are able to demonstrate capacity, demonstrate performance, those in biases that they thought were intrinsic, not so much are there anymore after they allow you to perform, and they see that, hey, he know what he's doing, or she know what he's doing. So you breaking down a lot of those barriers, but they do happen, and they do interfere with your capacity to perform, and financially it does have some strain on your ability to be profitable.
so Mr. Berry, with that said, I mean, I want our attendees, I hope that they heard what you said, that you did face situations where you were not even funded for the work that you were doing. But you tapped into some of the stakeholders, some of the resources, some of the key people that were able to get things going for you. So for everyone that's on, especially when you're working with government agencies, I'm plugging my program, our small business program in Jackson. My colleague Miranda is on today. In the chat, she just posted some information about doing business with Jackson. But you have resources that are within these government agencies. We can't speak for the private industry, but for the government agencies, there are diversity representatives specifically assigned to work with and support small and minority businesses. So you have those as resources to reach out to resolve some of the challenges that you face. But Mr. Berry, you also mentioned that you work to keep a positive cash flow. And for someone like me, I don't know what that means. And I'm assuming that other of our attendees may not know as well. What does that mean and how do you do that?
Well, I have at my headquarters here on 79th Street, I have a propane dispensing company. I also have a full service janitorial program, and I have a chemical manufacturing blending business. So I have several businesses. Um, I grew up in an era where I did not expend excessively um, on frivolous things. I only purchase what I need, and I have, as I said earlier, venues where all of my uh, programs are generating revenue. So I never wanted to put myself in a position where I just wanted to be dependent on one particular business. So I have a propane dispensing business. I have a full service janitorial business, and we make our own chemicals here. We make about 30 or 40 different chemicals. So in actuality, I have different venues where I can call on to keep my business afloat. If something is not working with the chemical business, we still have to have propane dispensing, and you still have the janitorial business. So we just don't rely on just one thing, and we don't spend frivolously. You know, we buy what we need. I'm not a person to just rent, buy things that I don't need, and buy excessively cars and that kind of thing that would not be advantageous to making the business successful. I don't indulge in those kind of things. So it's all about doing whatever is required to make the business grow and be successful. And those are the things that I focus on and concentrate on.
So I heard multiple streams of income.
Yeah, yeah.
And through your business, you know, you have if you haven't had a chance to visit his storefront on 79th Street and Northwest 4th Avenue, I recently visited it. I was blown away, but you have multiple businesses in one. You know, so maybe that's an opportunity for some of our attendees as well. How can you leverage your one business to bring in multiple streams of income? But also, as Mr. Berry said, be mindful of spending. Especially now, you know, what do you need to operate to function versus what all can I acquire? You know, sometimes we don't have space for that, especially when it comes to finances. I think our panelists are shaking their heads, they agree. Okay, we are coming up on 11 o'clock, and I know we have a few minutes after, but we don't want to take too much extra time. So I'm going to do kind of a round robin of questions for all of our panelists. And this is just something to give people a perspective. You know, if you're in business, if you're looking to pivot, if you're not in business and you're looking to start a business, some of these questions may be able to help you. So I'll start with Anthony. If you could start all over, what is one thing that you or your company would have done differently in starting your business?
Couple of things. One, I would have signed up to be a SBE quicker. Right, so that was open tremendous avenues for me at American Home Agency. And secondly, I think you should consider when you get into like at least 2 to 3 years, try to purchase your own property, right, rather than renting if you have the ability, because then we've saved like over the last 10 years, you know, like so much money from not renting. I think that's one of the key things as well. And key thing there, if I could start over again, is make sure you build the right team quickly, so you can go to market much better.
Wow. I mean, I'm going to have to go and watch the replay of this myself. I'm hearing so much good information. Wow. That renting versus owning. I think we have a couple of building owners in our panel today, and that's important. It's challenging, you know, but the long run benefits definitely outweigh. And that SBE certification, if you listen to part 1, we went heavily into SBE certification, Small Business Enterprise Certification. So if you need more information on that, definitely go back and listen to the replay of part 1, Small Business Enterprise Certification for Jackson and Miami-Dade County. Means that you've gone through small business developments, Miami-Dade County Small Business Development Division, and been certified as a small business enterprise according to their criteria. There are other certifications with other certifying agencies that can also benefit your company, woman-owned business, minority-owned business. So that's something to pursue, but if you need more information, definitely tune back into part 1 of our series. I'd like to also ask Tracy, being somebody that more recently, I should say, started your business, what would you go back and do differently if given a chance?
Taking advantage of the resources, education, and tools about specifically government contracting. It wasn't until I was a year into it that I realized I lacked some education with that, and I made decisions that encumbered me later on, right? So these resources are built into when you get SBE certified. Please take advantage of that. Like Florida PTAC, that's huge. Like that's a wealth of resources right there that tells you the specifics of government contracting. I'm WeBank certified. So when I went through that process, they helped me with understanding the state level contracting versus federal level contracting. and putting together compatibility statements, which is like your business resume. And here's the got me on our websites, like we should have a page specifically for procurement for government officials, because those checkpoints are different than your everyday procurement that you deal with in hospital systems and GPOs. So again, identifying the resources that you have free access to, build in the time to learn and implement those resources, as well as building the cost of these certifications, the SBE, the WeBank, all these, because you need them. They open all the doors for the contract bidding at a later time. So it's building those cost expenses for certification, taking the time out, or incorporating in your study how to actually get and hold and retain and renew government contracts. All this information is right there built into all these different certifying entities. So for me, it would have been tapping into that much quicker, as opposed to learning it the hard way, Amber. You and I have plenty of stories there. But the Amber, and also the chamber, that's a huge help too. Like your local chamber, they have access to this information, or people that can help you walk through that.
So important. Yes, we did have some conversations through the process, about understanding the process. And it is a lot easier and smoother if you understand a lot of this up front. So I think that's a really important point, is to tap into the resources, get an understanding of the industry that you're trying to pursue, so that you can better navigate these things, because it does get complicated. Government contracting is not cut and dry. It's an ever-learning process. From my side, I'm sure some of our panelists would also agree, but getting familiar with those resources upfront can definitely help your business grow and thrive. So we have two more questions, and I just want to get a yes or no from all of our panelists on this one. Has contracting with government agencies helped to grow your business, Anthony?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
It's a lot of door for me.
Everybody seems to agree.
Without a doubt, without a doubt.
Absolutely. Do not be afraid of it.
Yeah.
Steady money.
Steady money. Okay, and then lastly, we'll end with this question for everyone. What advice would you offer to small and minority businesses who may be hesitant to pursue government contracts? Jackie?
Well, Tracy just said it best, steady money. And, the government is not eager to come up and have somebody give them a bad name. And we found in working with the government agencies, and especially yours, Amber, you've spent numerous hours making sure that our organization get our just due and also get paid for our just due. So, and I heard everybody talk about these relationships. And when we can just establish those relationships with the organizations that are there to help us, such as you, Amber, and your staff, and ISD and that staff, if we can start relationships with them and not be afraid to express, number one, our inabilities and our needs and desires. I was listening to both Anthony and Tracy, and then I was envious of Mr. Berry about being able to bring in family members who can feel a love and then assist you. But even at that, what we found out is that our management staff have to be like family. They have to feel that they have ownership of what we're trying to do here. But working with the government right now for our Hill is our best bet, because we get paid.
Thank you. And Mr. Berry, what advice would you offer?
In terms of being as far as a new business getting started, you mean?
Yes, if it's an established business, but they're just hesitant to work with the government.
I think probably the hesitancy might be in the area of understanding bureaucracy. They look at probably the big government and thinking there's a lot of red tape, but That's not necessarily true. People like yourself, Lawanda with Dade County, and you got Eric Knowles with the Chamber. I would say that even though it might appear to be a process that you might not be able to navigate yourself, there are expertise, there are people there who have knowledge and skills and who have the desire to want to assist. And I learned that from my experience working in the field of rehabilitation. And I've been able to, over the years, be successful because I have taken advantage of the resources like yourself with Jackson and Eric with the Chamber and Lawanda and Mr. Hartfield with Dade County. So these people are there, and people who are in positions, are in these positions, they are there because they like what they are doing. So all you have to do is reach out and they will be there for you. So I would suggest that you take advantage of all the opportunities that are available to you because these people are there. They have the expertise and the knowledge and the wherewithal, and all they need is for you to approach them and explain what your needs are, and they will be there to assist you.
Thank you, Mr. Berry. Tracy, what advice would you offer?
Very simple. Utilize your resources. Hire like-minded people like you that are aligned with the resources. Take the time to learn and implement. That's it.
Very succinct and impact. Thank you. And Mr. Price, what advice would you offer to a smaller minority business that is hesitant to work with a government agency?
Well, for one thing, it builds your resume because if you're an individual, your business, and you're working in a particular field, you always want to work with best company. And likewise, working with like for example, Jackson being one of the best hospital system in South Florida, that makes your resume look really good. So that's one thing, and also it helps you to partner. Sometimes business come to you because you might not be a prime on a particular contract, but you might be a sub, and entities are looking for you to help you provide services as well. So that's what I would say. Build a resume, work with the government, don't be afraid, and just make sure you promise what you want to deliver.
You deliver.
Okay.
I do have one thing to add to that, Amber. In my experience with government contracting, they will, and they continue to work with you. If you are successful in that space, it does not really matter your size. To Anthony's point, if you execute and you deliver efficiently, the renewal process is not as convoluted as when you first started to get the contract. It also, when going into other situations on your capability statements, what I meant to say earlier, the first question they ask you is, who have you worked with or what contracts have you acquired? So that is now your calling card. So you have to, at some point, if you're going to work with government entities, you have to go after these contracts. Do not be afraid of big numbers. Do not be afraid of things with 6 or 7 zeros, okay? You're just as capable as another company that has all those resources, right? You just have to make sure it's in alignment. And when I mentioned hire people with this experience, there's a lot of retired, semi-retired government officials, people out there that will donate and volunteer their time to help your business grow, right? They're sitting at the Miami-Dade Chamber, or they're looking for different ways to contribute to helping minority business be successful. I'm pretty sure you can tap into the wisdom of our predecessors. That's also something that we don't do. Like, I'm looking at Mr. Berry, like I'm writing notes as he's talking, he's done that. Same thing with Jackie is they have done it. Tap into the wisdom of your predecessors. They will come help you. They've already been successful. So now they can use the time, they can donate their time to you. That is a form of investment.
Thank you, Tracy. And thank you, Anthony, for the information you shared as well. I think, Tracy, you hit it on the head, and that's really why we are so grateful. Jackson and the Chamber, we are truly grateful for the time that all of you have given to our attendees today. You have done it, you're doing it, and you did not hesitate to share the information, share your knowledge and experience with our attendees today. And we are truly grateful for time, your attention. Thank you all so much, so very much for your
I'd like to
participation.
share my number if anybody wants to give me a holler.
Go ahead, Mr. Berry.
786-291-6686.
So your phone is gonna probably shut down in a minute from all the calls. And I won't let you repeat it. If you didn't catch it
for
on the
my
first
previous,
time, you're gonna have to watch the replay to get it.
that's my previous social work background in rehabilitation, trying to be helpful.
And that's what you're doing right now. Appreciate it. Thank you all so much. Anthony, Tracy, Mr. Berry, Jackie, thank you all so much for your time. We have a couple of questions from the audience, so we definitely want to get to those today. We have Gasoline in the Q&A. She's asked, what are the requirements for a hair salon / spa to become certified, and when contracts to work with the hospitals? So Gasoline for Jackson, I can't speak for every health organization, but I do want to give you that perspective from a major hospital system. Those services are not provided in our environment. To limit the contact and the interaction with our patients as much as possible to just their clinical needs while they're in the hospital. But Jackson, we actually have long-term care centers that are offsite, where we have patients that are there for an extended period of time. That's probably a better route to pursue services if they have those needs there. You can contact myself or my team at smallbusiness@jhsmiami.org. There's a message in the chat from Miranda Ugo. She's our small business program specialist that lists all of the contact information in our websites. So please reach out to us to discuss this further. And going to the chat, there are several questions about the availability of the recording from today's webinar that will be available on the Chamber's website. I believe that website is in the chat. So in a little bit of time, this recording from today will be available, and the previous recording, again, part 1 of this 2-part series. Janine asks, no, I'm sorry, Hernan asks, does a company need a minimum operating time to be able to bid or to get an invitation to bid? Hernan, that depends on the project. Those things are definitely laid out in the document. From what I've seen, the majority of the time they are looking for somebody with at least 1 year in business, but there are some opportunities that you don't need a year in business to pursue. But the invitation to bid or the bid document will outline that specification. Running through the chat, Gina asked Mr. Berry, do you have any mentorship programs for cleaning services?
I have one person that I'm mentioning right now. We can talk. We can talk. You can give me a call. And I do try to help. There's a lot of things involved in being successful in the janitorial business in terms of the chemicals, the measurements, how to bid large contracts, small contracts, and being competitive in doing so. So, there's some things I can offer, advice I can offer, and I would glad to be able to share it with you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Berry. And then I do see Gina has put information on how to schedule a free technical assistance session with the chamber. So please take advantage of that. Again, we've heard over and over today to utilize the resources, tap into the resources that are available to us so that we can help you get a better understanding and knowledge of how to do business with government agencies. I'd like to turn it over to Gina now that we have gone through all of the questions, if she has any final words in the chamber. You're on mute.
Yes, well, on behalf of the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce, I would like to thank both Amber and the Jackson Health System for this wonderful partnership, as well as each one of the panelists today that provided a wealth of information, very practical for our entrepreneurs. Again, if you are interested in getting one-on-one technical assistance, I did put the link in the chat. Feel free to reach out to us, as well as continue talking about resources, continue to participate in these kind of workshops and to make sure you know what's going on and you know what resources are out there. And also I'm putting a link to our website as far as the upcoming events. So hope you participate in that as well.
So again, thank you all. Thank you again to our panelists. We are ever so grateful. And thank you to our attendees. We're seeing some positive feedback that this information has been helpful. So we hope that you really take what you heard today, listen to the replay, just like I will be, if you need more details. And of course, reach out to us, reach out to your resources. We're here to help. Thank you so much for your time and attention. We appreciate you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.